Let me tell you all the story. So back in 2019, I had just completed university and the NSS postings were out. I was posted to this company, so I went there to submit my document. To be honest, I didn't really plan on doing the NSS because I had already gotten a visa to travel, but I still wanted to experience working in Ghana before leaving. It was a very sunny day when I first went to the company. I wore a white long sleeved shirt and even with the AC on. I had to unbutton the first button because of the heat. I parked at the entrance and walked into the reception, where I met two women. One was the receptionist, and the other, I wasn't sure who she was. I explained why I was there. And the first thing the receptionist said was, NSS, and you're already coming to seduce people here? I was confused for a moment. But when the second lady looked at my shirt, I realized she was referring to my open button. I quickly closed it. I was asked to sit and wait. The second lady handed me some documents to fill out and told me to come back the following week. The first official day of the NSS came and I went in for the induction. I was late, so I rushed in. The receptionist ushered me into the conference room where the other NSS staff were gathered. My colleagues were chatting and getting to know each other, but I sat quietly at one end, minding my business. Then the second lady I had met on my first day came in and called me to follow her. She introduced herself and took me to an office, the board chairman's office. The man introduced himself and asked if I knew him. I didn't, so I said no. Turns out it was my uncle. He then told me that the lady who called me in was my cousin. Let's call her Queen. The chairman told me that if I ever needed anything, I should speak to Queen or come directly to him. I called my dad to tell him I had met his sister's husband. He said he had actually told him that morning that I was starting my NSS at their company. The next day, I went back to work again, fashionably late. I got my ID card for clocking in and went straight to my department. They gave me some books to read until lunch. I got along well with the people there. Just before lunch, my supervisor told me to go see Queen in the finance department. I stepped out but got a bit lost. While wandering around, I met another NSS person. Let's call her Laura. I asked her to direct me and she walked with me there. When we got to finance, I greeted Queen. She watched Laura leave and said, "You've already gotten yourself a girl, huh?" I laughed and said, "No, she just helped me find the place." Queen then asked if I was ready for lunch and I said yes. She told me to follow her, walking behind her. I noticed her figure for the first time, slim, curvy, and very much like the women in my dad's family. I got to the reception, picked up 2 packs of food, and went to her office. We ate and chatted, and I realized she was really cool. Older than me, but full of good vibes. I asked for her number before heading back to my department. I forgot to text her that day, but the next morning she texted first, asking what I wanted for lunch. She sent me a menu and I told her to choose for me. She ordered the same thing she was having and we ate together. I don't understand what's going on here. We had great conversations and I genuinely enjoyed our company. Rumors had already spread about, but most people knew we were cousins. By Friday, she asked if I wanted to have lunch outside and I said yes, if it wouldn't get us in trouble. She laughed. She drove us to a restaurant in Osu. I can't remember that name. This Osu is a very popular place in Ghana. Just by reading the stories, I already know Osu. I can't remember the name. And we had lunch there. I offered to pay because I didn't want to seem opportunistic. But she laughed and said, "You want to use your 600 cedis salary to pay for this food? You'll be broke by Monday." She paid, saying her dad had told her to make sure I was well fed. We got back to work late, but no one seemed to care. From then on, Queen and I grew closer. After work, I would usually stay in her office until the traffic calms down. I got her a few things she had mentioned wanting. I really went out of my way to make her happy. She told me she had dinner plans with her boyfriend that night. Huh? When I went to tell her I was leaving, she seemed a bit down. I asked if she was okay and she said yes, though she didn't seem it. It was almost 8 p.m. and she said she was heading home. I suggested we go out instead since it was Friday after all and her birthday to make up for our boyfriend's absence. She agreed, but later when I got home to change, she called to say her boyfriend had finally texted, so she was going to meet him instead. I said okay and stayed home playing games. Around 11 p.m., she called again, asking if I could come pick her up from Legon. I know Legon too. I've not been to Ghana. I got dressed and drove out. She said she had dinner, but her boyfriend suddenly left, saying he had to meet someone. Okay. She wasn't happy, so she decided to leave and call an Uber. But instead, I went to get her since she had a few drinks and she didn't want to go home yet. So I took her to my place. It was just me and my big sister in the house, but my sister had gone out with friends. I gave Queen some of my clothes and she took a shower. She didn't want to sleep in the guest room. Said she wanted company, so she lay in my bed, wearing only my t-shirt. Her legs were spotless. Queen was beautiful, inside and out. She crawled into my bed while I sat in a chair playing games. She fell asleep quickly and eventually I joined her. When I woke up, she was already up, chatting with my sister in the kitchen. While cooking, when my sister saw me, she gave me that look. Before Uncle, me go give you the look. And I swear, I wanted to explain. It wasn't what she was thinking. Lol. I went back to my room, showered and joined them to eat. Queen dressed up and I dropped her off at home. She didn't live far from my place. Came back home and my sister just said, I like this one. I explained to her and she said she knows we are cousins, but she thinks Queen is fond of me. I laughed and rubbished her thoughts. Over the weekend, Queen and I kept in touch constantly. We texted, FaceTimed, and honestly, it felt like we spent the whole weekend together, even though we weren't in the same place. When Monday came, we met at work as usual and went about our week. We decided to go out that coming Friday since we couldn't the previous one. Queen loved going out. She always had a list of places she wanted to visit. That Friday, we went to Honeysuckle. I don't know Honeysuckle. While we were eating, one of our friends showed up and joined us. After we finished, they both went into the bar area for a karaoke session. And while I waited at the table around 1 a.m., we left. I dropped off our friends and then we headed to my place. This time, Queen had actually packed her own clothes on the way home. I told her about what my sister thought was going on between us. Queen laughed and said I should have told my sister we didn't do anything. Then she looked at me and asked, would you ever do something with me? Yeah, that's when something is wrong. I told her no because she's my cousin and I wouldn't take advantage of her, especially when she's drunk. She smiled and said, well, I'm sober today. We both laughed and I said again, yeah, but you're still my cousin. Makes sense. So then she then asked, so if we weren't cousin, would you have? Without thinking too much, I said, of course. She laughed and said, well, I have a boyfriend, so it's not possible. I chuckled and said, your boyfriend is a deadbeat anyway. And just as I said that, speak of the devil, her boyfriend called. They talked briefly. She told him she was with her cousin and that I was dropping her off. After they hung up, we continued our drive. When we got home, my sister was already heading out. Queen and I settled in the lounge, put on a movie and just relaxed for a while. Weirdly enough, the movie we were watching had a scene where someone was making out with their stepmother. I glanced over at Queen and for a moment, it hit me how much I actually felt for her. Okay, let's just hope it doesn't end that way. Looking at her, I saw peace and comfort wrapped in one person. There was something about Queen. She cared for me and cared about me in a way no one else ever had. But then reality set in. It was complicated. She was family. She was older than me. I wouldn't want to do something that was gonna mess up what we had. I had to suppress how I felt. So guys, I just realized this story added part 2. If you are seeing this, I would have posted it on my YouTube channel. But I'm still gonna post it here. But if you know you love me, guys, please watch the final part in my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much. Bye.